Welcome back to Briggs on Books, our international talk show where I talk to authors from all over the world about their books, their ideas, how they get a book published. For goodness sakes, it seems to be the hardest thing for some people to do, including me. But all day long, I read books or I'm talking to authors. I have the best job in the world. And by the way, check out this book. I always point the wrong way. Your Love Does Matter by David Cunningham. Not only do I have the book cover here, I actually have the author live via the magic of Zoom. Welcome, David.
Hello, good afternoon.
Tell our viewers where you're located.
I'm right outside Philadelphia.
Is there snow there right now?
In about 2 hours, we're expecting it.
Oh, it is coming.
Yeah, about 2 hours.
We're from California. We don't see snow ever.
Yeah. We just had some last week. It's gone, but we're supposed to get some new this afternoon.
Yeah, I saw big storms coming through there. Mm-hmm. Now, you've had quite a diverse life. Teacher, special ed teacher, being involved in programs in the community, things like that. Tell us about your background and what brought you to writing this book.
Yeah, I just had, I think, an extraordinary career, really gifted career. So as you said, I started out as a special ed teacher way back in the 1970s, and then got into advocacy work. So I was a director of what was called the Connecticut Justice for Children Collaboration. Back in those days, that was when there was no juvenile court system. If kids were arrested, they went right to adult court and adult prison, so we had to get a whole juvenile court system set up. Then I was a director of the National Committee for Prevention of Child Abuse, and back in those days, there was really nothing going on for child abuse prevention, so we got literally set up a nonprofit organization in every state around the country and got laws passed in every state around the country that would protect kids from child abuse. And then I had a really gifted career for 30-some years leading probably the world's most powerful transformational program, the Landmark Forum. Led that for hundreds of thousands of people in many countries around the world.
Wow.
So had a really gifted career.
Now, then, how did the book come about?
Well, it's really my own journey of throughout that whole career, also of being aware of something, which is discovering for myself that I really did love, and that that when I'm free, I love, and that the only time I don't love is when I'm constrained by something. And so that's what I really wanted to offer the readers, was an insight into, as human beings, discovering that we're happy when we love who we're being. So doesn't matter what we have, doesn't matter what we're doing. We could be in the Swiss Alps skiing and be cranky and not enjoying it. Mm-hmm. Or we could be have a flooded basement, cleaning the basement, and be playful and having a good time. Yeah. So whether we love our lives or not is not dependent on anything about what we have or what we do. It's who we be as human beings. Mm-hmm. And then noticing that we love most being loving, which, by the way, it's important to distinguish between that and having the experience of love. There's the experience of love, and then there's being loving. Those are two different things. And when we're happy is we're being loving. And really asserting that, when we're free, we love. And the only thing that has us not love is some constraint. And so being able to, the job is not to turn ourselves into more loving people. The job is to disappear, get rid of all the things that limit us, keep us, stop us from loving as we do.
Wow. That's big, David. There's a lot to wrap my head around. Now, will this book help us lead us down the path? Will it help us realize where we are in our own lives?
I really think so, because I was committed to that it was not just a book you read that was interesting, but it was a book that literally opened that door for you. And so we look at, what are the barriers to loving, to, what really stops us. Yeah. And, you could put it in three categories, I think. One thing that stops us is the belief that love comes from the other person. And you'll notice it just doesn't. If we really examine life carefully, we never experience love because somebody's loving us. If somebody's loving me and I'm cranky, I don't experience love, I experience crankiness. And so the only time I experience love is when I'm being loving myself. So that transformation, to not expect the love to come from the other, then it leaves you really appreciating the other person, because I don't get to love if nobody's there. And so you end up grateful for whoever's there, and even the most apparently difficult people are the most valued ones, because they're the ones that you get to love the most, you know? A polite clerk in a store, you get to be polite back. A rude clerk in a store, you get to be really generous with. So they're the best ones, right? So one belief is that we get the love from the other people, and we never do. So it's important to discover that and transform that.
Yeah.
Another belief is that if we're upset, somebody must have done something bad. And, to really discover that's just not the case. We get upset over our view of life, not because what the other person did. I found myself, Mike, just irritated the other day because the person in front of me in the grocery store was taking too long to pay, and I was totally irritated. So clearly that, they'd broken some law that I had in life. But it's important for people to discover that, wait, no, it's impossible for somebody to do something bad or wrong, because bad, wrong, good, right, it's made up. It doesn't exist in the world. It's like our view of life. So that's an important one to transform, is get outside of that whole system of right, wrong, good, or bad. And another one is that it's really important for us to discover is that we believe people need to deserve our love. And, in the book, I work with people to be able to discover the whole beautiful state of bestowing grace, which is simple. Wishing people well, and they don't have to deserve it. Just wish people well, wish them peace, wish them love. And this is not to have us be good people, Mike. This is just to have us love the living of our own lives.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I'm committed to start a grassroots movement where we what I call expand our love footprint on the planet. So people have a carbon footprint. I'm asserting we have a love footprint too. So what are we leaving behind for future generations, after our interactions with people on the planet? So I'm committed to starting a grassroots movement.
And is the movement the Love Matters collaboration?
Yeah, it's got a piece. The Love Matters collaboration is where I'm beginning to pull people together who are, in so many different ways, bringing love to the planet. And also, one particular project I'm really happy about and excited about is just starting, called the Love Goes to the Capitol. So I'm committed to infuse the current political system with love, respect, honor. So just projects like this, kind of for, a week at a time. Like 1 week, I do volunteer work with formerly incarcerated men. So take the guys up to the state capitol and have them deliver an orchid to every legislator. Another week, take a group of trans teenagers up to the Capitol and have them open the doors for the legislators every day.
Nice.
No political agenda, whatever. Just bring love, respect, and honor. And I'm committed that if we did that just for 1 year, every week we did another project like that for 1 year, we would alter the culture of politics and bring love, respect, and honor to the whole system.
By the way, so I don't forget it later, I know you're an author, but you also do speaker. You'll go speak at different events.
Yes, I really love that. I've been speaking my whole life, is what I've been doing, but particularly now, just had the opportunity to talk for a group called Prisons to Partnerships, which was a convening of people all over the country working to really make it possible for people who get out of prison to stay out of prison. So if I can forward groups like that.
Yeah. And if somebody wants to have you speak at their event, I guess they could start by going to your web address, which we have on the screen.
Very simple. yourlovedoesmatter.com. That's how you can find me. yourlovedoesmatter.com.
I love the website. I've already got it memorized, and that's how websites should be. Very easy. But by the way, who should, I've got a pretty good idea, I should read this book, but who generally needs to read this book?
I think two kinds of people. One is anybody who's interested in fully expanding, expressing themselves as a loving being, and in particular, if they've got some area of life where they're having difficulty with that. Yeah. For instance, I just worked with one man who was having trouble with his teenage son, or another person who was having trouble in their marriage. So, but not limited to people who are having some struggle. Anybody who's committed to the fullest expression of themselves as a loving being, and particularly if they're having some issue. That's one group. And the other group is anybody who's really wants to alter the condition out there, like what if you and I lived in an environment of love? It's one thing for us to love another person. It's another thing for us to live in an environment of love. And so for anybody that's interested in bringing an environment of love to this planet, that's also what I'm committed to.
And you talked a little bit earlier about, overcoming the barriers that exist and stuff. One thing this book does is helps you see the barriers, I would imagine.
Yes, become aware of them. Absolutely. You won't, if you're not aware of them, if you can't see them, they're just there. They shape you and limit you and you don't even know it. So becoming aware of them is the first step. That's right.
Sounds like one of the also important things the book points out is you are the barrier. The barrier is coming from you, not another person or another incident, but it comes from you. Not you, but from the person.
Yeah, it's the views of life. The barriers are all in the views of life that have been passed down from generation to generation. So I don't want to say like the person is the problem. We inherited views. There's a fundamental way that human beings see other people, see ourselves in the world in relationship to other people. Just the fact that we see ourselves as separate, but we really do see it that way, right? So as long as we see ourselves as separate, and again, people try to say, okay, well, we're one, or we're one, but they can't convince themselves of it because the barrier to that is still in place.
Yeah.
So taking out the barrier is the most important part.
Yeah. And I guess also you're saying we put the barriers often artificial. We put them in ourselves because we decide when we're in that line at the grocery store how long that other person should be taking. And it's just something we created out of the blue. By the way, I stand in line at the Dollar Tree all the time. I've taken to starting my phone alarm, my stopwatch on my phone, because you realize you're only standing there a minute or two. It isn't 10 or 15 minutes like you think.
Oh no, and we think they're ruining our lives because they delayed us by a whole minute.
Yeah.
So sure, they ruined our lives. Yes.
I wonder. I love to give books as gifts, and I want to give that hint to our viewers. Don't go buy one copy of this book. Click the button 10 times because what a great book to give away.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that because many of my friends, as they read it, they said, "Oh, can I get 10 copies? Can I get 20 copies?"
Yeah.
Right, because they wanted to give it away as a gift. So it's interesting that you said that. That's a usual response to reading this book. Yeah.
Every week I have to go to someone's house for a dinner or an event. You always want to take a gift. So wow, what a great gift this will be. David, where can we get the book?
Again, right now is go to yourlovedoesmatter.com and it'll be released any day now. I'm waiting.
Wow.
If you watch me, I'm with bated breath waiting. It's coming out on Amazon any minute now. So,
okay, great.
But right now, if they go to yourlovedoesmatter.com, they'll be notified and have all the information.
So we're like the book launch right here today.
That's right. Exactly.
That's great, Dave. Well, you're an amazing guy and very inspirational, and you've already sunk some things into my mind, like the cranky clerk at the store or whatever. You could, I always think of killing them with kindness, but you could kill them with love.
Yeah.
And
they give you the biggest opportunity to love being you, to love the human being you are.
Nice. David, we're way past time, but any last thoughts you want to share with our viewers about your book or any subject whatsoever?
Well, I think so. I think that I again want to talk about how easy it is to be someone who literally, I call it bestowing grace on others, wishing others well. And I think for everybody listening, I think they'll find that so satisfying to know themselves. Even if you've had conflict with somebody, people have trouble with forgiveness. Like I can't figure out how to forgive them because they did something so bad.
Yeah.
Well, don't worry about that. Just wish them well.
Yeah.
And you can find your peace and your really satisfaction with yourself by wishing people well, even if there's somebody you're having trouble forgiving or so wishing people well, bestowing grace, I think is what I leave people with today.
Grace. Thank you, David. I hope you'll come back again and again, even in a month or so we can see how the book is doing and remind people that it's out.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
All right. And for our viewers, don't go anywhere because we're going to be back with another author right after this.